Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about exponents, multiplying and dividing with them. On the test, you're going to see some questions about them. You're going to see some word questions, especially some where you have to get the answer right the first time and then divide it and see what happens next. So let's talk about our exponents. I think we're all pretty familiar that we all know, especially because you guys really did a good job in that review activity that we had on Friday. So I'm pretty sure you're all going to do really well on this. I know that 10 to the third power, I know that's going to give me 100 or 1000 because I have my number here is 3. So I have 3 zeros. I can say that 10 to the, oops, let's make it up here, 10 to the 6th power. I know that that equals 1 million because there are 6 zeros. Just to refresh our memories, even though I'm sure most of you have it, here's my 6, here's my 6 zeros. Just to refresh my memory, or your memory, even though I'm sure most of you have it, let's just try a quick one. Here's 10 to the 5th power. Tell me what that means. Go. Okay, we're back. We know that 10 to the 5th power, I have a 5. Sorry. Come on. Click in the right spot. I have a 5 right here. Oops. A 5 right here, which means I have 5 zeros, so I have my 10. That's 1 0. Oops, sorry. 2, 3, 4, 5. Please ignore my extra little commas. So that's how we talk about exponents. Let's work on a quick problem. And here it is. Let's try 8 75/100 times 10 to the 3rd power. Something that might help you, and it definitely helps me, is to either visualize or draw a place value chart. It helps me a lot. Here's my decimal right here. My fractions are a little off than normal, so tenths, hundredths, thousandths, you guys know where those are. I start, excuse me, I put my number in there. 8 ones, 7 tenths, 5 hundredths. I know I'm moving over 3 spaces, and I'm multiplying, and when I multiply, my number gets bigger. So I move to the left. When I divide, I know my number gets smaller, so I move to the right. I'm moving to the left 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. I have 8 goes here. 1, 2, 3. My 7 becomes 700. 1, 2, 3. My 500ths becomes a 50. I put a 0 in the ones column because I have no zeros. Remember, there's always an invisible 0 here, so you always can think about that. So my answer would be 8,700. 8,750. We'll do another one like that. So here we'll try this. I'll put my place value chart again. Our problem this time is going to be 4.5, and this time we're going to divide by 10 to the 2nd power. Oh, that's 2's kind of weird. Let's make it up. 10 to the 2nd power. So as before, I start with putting my number in my place value part, 4.5. Here's my decimal. I'm dividing this time, and when I divide, my number gets smaller, so I move backwards. If you want, I'll tell you another strategy to do in just a second. But I need to move backwards, and I'm moving backwards 2 spaces because that's my exponent. So I go 1, 2. 5 becomes in the thousands place. 1, 2. My 4 is in the hundreds place. I put a 0 as my tenths and a 0 as my 1. And my answer is 0.045 or 45 thousandths. Molly's sitting right. Hi, Molly. Hey, come here. She's shy, but she says hi. Another strategy we can do is I can start with my 4.5, and I know my number is getting smaller, so I want to move everything this way. I could also take my decimal and curve it up. I want to move it 2 spaces, so 1, 2. Might put a 0 here. Here's my decimal now, and I can put a 0 in front of it. That's just another strategy you can do where you move your decimal over. So let's try. Your problem will have 782, and we're going to divide it by 10 to the, let's do 10 to the third power. Go ahead and try that one on your own. And we're back. I want to put it in my place value first, 782. I would really like you to try to use a place value chart. Some of you might think you don't need it, but it helps. I want to move back 3 spaces because I have my exponent is 3. 1, 2, 3. My 2 goes here. 1, 2, 3. My 8 goes here. 1, 2, 3. Oops. 10, 7. Here's my decimal. My answer is 0.72. 782 thousandths. I can also think of it as, like I said before, 782. My decimal is here. I want to move my numbers backwards. So I move them back 1 space, 2 spaces, 3 space. My decimal ends up there. I rewrite my number nice and neat. And there you have it. So this next type of problem is going to be a two-step problem. It's going to say our first step is taking 9 and 99 hundredths. And we'll multiply it by 10 to the 4th power. Then it's going to say, now take your answer and divide it by 10 to the 2nd power. So I have my place value chart as always, which I really encourage you to use during this test. I'm going to draw 2 lines on here this time, just to help us sort out what we're doing. A little, whoops, a little better, right there, right here, good. Our first step, as always, will be to let's solve the first part of the problem. We don't know the answer yet. So I want to start, just like always, inserting my numbers in my place value chart. Multiply by 10 to the 4th, meaning I go over 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 9, 9, 0, 0. There's my answer for that. I have 99,900. Am I done? No. I need to now take my answer and divide it by 10 to the 2nd. So I'm going to move backwards 2 spaces. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. And I'm left with 999. Okay, you might see a problem like that on the test. Let's give you one to work on your own. Try this one. 10 to the 4th power. I'm sorry, times 75. When you find that, I want you to divide your answer by 10 to the fifth power. Go ahead and work that out. Okay, let's see how we did. I know that I have 10 to the fourth power times 75. So here's my 75. Move it over 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. 75, 0, 0. I'm left with 750,000. Now I want to divide it by 10 to the fifth. I want to move backwards 5 spaces. You're like, hey, Mr. Brown, I don't have spaces to move my zeros back. Remember, behind the decimal, those zeros don't really matter anymore. If they're at the end of the number, right? If they're at the end of the number, they don't matter. So I'll start right here, and I'll move my 5 back 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my 5 actually ends up behind a decimal, and my 7 ends up in my 1s column. So I'm left with just 7.5. I could say 500. I could even include these zeros and it would still be right. But really, it would just be 7.5, and this would be 750 big 0,000. All right, there'll be a couple quiz questions at the end of this video for you. Keep working.